to run for the Senate from New York, and he succeeded, and I'm grateful that he did, and I know you were right there by his side. It was a joy being able to see you tonight and remember the contributions that you've made in so many ways. Before I say a word about Elijah, because he deserves his own special thanks, and I don't know if he is still watching, but really we all just want him to get as strong and back to, full speed as soon as possible. I couldn't help but think, as I was sitting there looking out at all of you, I had a chance to meet the incoming students, that this is what the world should be doing. We're only a few hours, really, from another terrorist attack in London, and not long before that, one in Manchester. And I know you join with me in extending our sympathy and strength to the victims, their families, and our appreciation to the police, the first responders, and courageous citizens who stepped up to help each other. There's no doubt that both in Manchester and in London, lives were saved. It also reminds us of the importance of the leadership opportunities that this program provides, that both Victor and Maya referenced, because this is a time for us to reach out to the world, to understand more about what is happening, not just in our own country, but indeed across the globe. It's a time for steady, determined leadership, like we are seeing from local authorities in London, including the mayor of London. And it is a time to remember how important our alliances are. You heard from Victor, you heard from Maya, you heard from the congressman. Getting to know one another, learning about the experiences, the lives, the cultures, the religions, the food. Putting yourself in another's shoes, walking in them. It's even more important that we work together with our allies and our friends and our partners. Yes, to keep us safe, but also to expand our understanding of what we can achieve together. This is not a time to lash out, to incite fear, or to use tragedy and terror for political gain. Now, normally this would go without saying, but we are not living in normal times. And that's why citizenship and leadership are more critical than ever. And it's wonderful to be back here in Baltimore, to have a chance to support this important organization and the work that it does. And to be here on behalf of someone whom I admire. Elijah Cummings' integrity, his character, his can-do spirit, his heart sets him apart. He's really a jewel in Congress. It's no coincidence that he shares a name with an Old Testament prophet. Elijah, the first, was also interested in helping people solve thorny problems and unafraid to speak out. And that's what Congressman Elijah Cummings does every single day. You heard him say, and I've heard him say it before, that children are messages to a future we will never see. And that's exactly what this program is. It is a testament to that belief. It is truly a labor of love. I spoke with Elijah the other day when he called to say that he wouldn't be able to be here He told me he interviews every young person who applies, that he is personally invested not only in selecting them, but in their success. And hearing from alumni like Victor and Maya, it's easy to see why this program has had such an impact. It's one thing to learn about the world, it's another thing to experience it. We've already heard that for some students, this is the first time they've had a passport. Elijah told me it was the first for some to be on an airplane. For most, it's the first time living away from home, let alone 6,000 miles away. By the time these students come back to Baltimore, they have celebrated Shabbat, studied Hebrew, hiked up Masada, and made lifelong friends. The lessons of this journey, as Senator Mikulski called it, last long after the fellows return home. One graduate said her experiences taught her the value of diplomacy, and she went on to join the Peace Corps. Another said that her time in Israel opened her eyes, inspired her to travel the world, and gave her the tools to be an effective, empathetic leader. Others give back to their communities by volunteering in all kinds of settings, helping to mentor the next generation of young leaders, continuing to build bonds of friendship and understanding between the African American and Jewish communities. Now, I will never forget my first trip to Israel about 36 years ago. It was a church trip to the Holy Land. Bill and I spent 10 days exploring the Galilee and doing our pilgrimage up to the top of Masada, floating in the Dead Sea, meeting friends, going out for meals in Tel Aviv and Haifa, exploring Jerusalem, particularly the Old City. We prayed at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre and paid our respects at some of the holiest of sites, including the Western Wall. And most memorably were the friends that we made. As one ECYP graduate said of his experience, which certainly was the same as mine, the sun was warm, but the people were warmer. So Bill and I came back from that trip feeling a strong personal bond to Israel and to its people. It has never been more important for young Americans to see themselves as part of a global community, one that works together to confront challenges like climate change, to promote peace and understanding across all the lines that divide us. America is only as strong as our alliances. They have been one of the great accomplishments of generations of American leaders. And I know that those of you who've been part of this program understand that. You develop a lifelong appreciation for our closest partner in a troubled region. And at a time when anti-Semitic hate crimes are on the rise, when Americans, Muslims, African Americans, Latinos are being targeted for racism, when violence motivated by hatred from Portland, Oregon to College Park ends the lives of young Americans, this program's mission of spreading tolerance is more urgent than ever. Part of what motivated the congressman to begin this program with the help of some of the people that he called out is because of the shared history of the African American and Jewish communities, from the Harlem Renaissance to the Civil Rights Movement, to the fight for fair housing, These two communities have worked shoulder to shoulder to stand up to inequality and injustice, to take on the shared enemy of bigotry, of discrimination. There's never been a better moment to channel that spirit of unity, to embrace the Jewish concept of tikkun olam, which says that repairing the world is the responsibility of each and every one of us. I'm asked quite often these days, what can we do? And the answer is as varied as the questioners. There are so many ways for us to reach out, bring people together, set some common goals and work toward achieving them, to help build that brighter future for generations to come, and yes, for building leaders by building bridges, not walls. So being here tonight is very encouraging to me. And I want to thank the congressman and Maya, the leadership of the organization, the supporters and donors, for understanding that this is the kind of commitment that really represents America at our best. And we need to do so much more to reach out to one another, to lift each other up, to believe in ourselves and what makes this country so exceptional, and to find ways, each in our own way, to serve, to be the best citizen we can be, to be a leader, and to support the next generation who will lead us on the journey ahead. Thank you all very much.
That was Hillary Clinton speaking at a Baltimore fundraiser today, the former Democratic presidential candidate, speaking at this fundraiser on behalf of the Elijah Cummings Youth Program.